Alright, so to save time today, I'm shooting my recap video while traveling with my dad to go check out his Mustang that he's getting built. And there's Chaz in the back eating. So I made, how many trades did I make today? I made 10 trades today, and I had a terrible win-loss rate. I think I only won 2 of my trades, but I still managed to turn green today. So I cut my losers short. I did have 2 big losses, and I would have been up over $100 today, but I screwed up on 2 of these trades, which I'll talk about real quick, and then we'll get to the actual computer, and I'll show you my charts, and we'll go into the details of the technicals. My biggest loss today was BZUN, and this was a bull run, but it was starting to flag, and I tried to get in on the flag break, and it just failed and came back down. I screwed up and didn't have my stop losses tight enough. I only had 1 stop loss instead of scaling out twice, which I've been practicing with, and it ended up losing about $38 on that one. So that was a full 6% loss on the trade. Unfortunately, I should have, it could have been a $10 loss instead, but I screwed up my stop losses. And then my other big loss today was Facebook. Facebook and VKTX. VKTX was another, it was flagging, and I tried to dip buy it off of an EMA, and I was basically anticipating, and I wasn't waiting for confirmation on the trend break to go long. So impatiency and trying to anticipate the trade screwed me over on that one. That didn't even have to be a loss. I didn't even have to take VKTX until it broke the trend, and it actually ended up downtrending all day today. So, and I also didn't cut out of that soon enough, so that could have been a smaller loss than $20. I probably could have got that down to $10 if I had managed the stop losses correctly. And then Facebook, again, it was just real choppy, and it popped out of its trend, and I thought it was going to flag. I tried to jump into it, and I was up a little bit, and then it just came back down for a loss. And I left to go to lunch, and I set a trailing stop loss. So if I had managed it or been there, it probably would have been less of a loss. It just failed and came back down. So my major issues today, even though I'm green, I screwed up some of my stop losses. I anticipated a trade, and I have been experimenting with sizing in twice and setting double stop losses, which is the reason why all these other losses are very small. You know, I'll size into it on the trend break light and then set my stop loss, and then I'll wait a little bit and I'll size in again for full entry, and then I'll set another stop loss. So I'll have 2 separate stop losses going. That way, if it pulls back on the first one, I make a little bit of profit, or I at least lock in a little bit of profit. And then if it continues to come down, then I get out full, still with profit. Or if the trade really hasn't gone and taken off, at least it'll be a small loss. So even though I think my accuracy today was it was a 20% accuracy, yet I was still profitable. So, you know, terrible win-loss rate, but I still somehow managed to make it green today. So not nearly as good as yesterday, but still a 10% gain on portfolio, almost a 10% gain, $64.84. So it doesn't seem like a lot of money, but percentage-wise, it is. When we get to this guy's shop, he restores classic cars, and he's a really good painter, and he's got some, what kind of cars does he have in there right now?
Oh, he's got that Corvette. He's got,
what year's the Corvette?
68.
It's 1,000 horsepower?
Yeah.
What are they putting in it at LSX, or?
I'm not sure what he's got in it. It's he's got a long way to get it done.
Okay, well, I'll show you some of the cars there, and he's got a 50, what'd you buy, a 55 Bel Air?
55.
Bel Air? Oh, Mom doesn't know? Still?
No.
Will she watch my video?
Probably.
Should I not put this in there?
You should get rid of it.
Oh my God.
I told you that a million times.
But it'd be really good in the video.
No.
But you
do it over.
I'll show you some of the cars when we get there. My battery's actually dying, and then we'll go to the technicals. So this is my dad's 428,
69.
428, the fastback.
Oh
Yeah, 69 fastback 428 Mustang that they're restoring. One day I'll be able to buy muscle cars again, or like this. But I figured I'd show this real quick. There's not really much to it, but apparently this is a fiberglass Corvette. They're putting a 600 cubic inch big block in it. It's 1,000 horsepower. Not really much to it right now, but it'll be interesting to see it when it's done. I may or may not be able to get a video of that one day, but let's go to the technicals now. All right, my bottom right is daily chart. This is a 3-minute chart, this is a 10-minute chart, and this is an hour chart. Unfortunately, once I got back after going to see those cars, I decided to take a trade long on TLRY because I felt like it was going to go back to VWAP. I got into it a little late and it failed, and I ended up losing all of the profits that I made today. So it was a minus $80 trade, and I ended the day minus $24. So all the profits I made, I ended up losing. So we'll start with this one, and if you're watching this, Spartan, please give me some feedback on what I could do better with this. I'm not very good at these bear flag reversals. It looked like it was trying to reclaim and come to VWAP, and I believe the people that were following Spartan and Spartan traded this profitable. He actually made $2 on this trade. I think I just got back to my house a little late and I missed the correct entry, which would have been right around 175, somewhere around here. 176 maybe. I got into it late, and my entry on this was basically the mini flag break. So on the 3-minute. So if you zoom in here, we had this mini flag. It broke, and I got into it at 182.33, right about here. It continued up, and then I got into it again, stacking into it, thinking that it's going to go back to VWAP, and I entered 185.27 up here, and then it just failed on the 3-minute, and it ripped down, and I got stopped out at 78.32 and 76.42. So 78 here and then 76 way down here. So that was an $80 loss there. I got into it too heavy and a little too late. That's my assumption. If Spartan, if you want to give me some feedback on the correct way to play these, I guess I just was late to the party and jumped into it chasing the trade. Let me show you the 2 good trades that I had today though. Made $47 on PAM. This was a long bull flag, again, real cut and dry trade. On the daily chart, it was downtrending forever. It broke trend and been going green for multiple days. You can see that on the hourly. It's got this solid trend going on, and I jumped into it on the bull flag. So my entry, we had this big run up and then a flag here. I jumped into it on a pullback at 34.87, right about here. Stop loss just below VWAP. I was red a little bit. It touched VWAP and then continued back up and went long. I sold into strength, 40 shares here, holding 17 to go longer. Spartan was anticipating it going longer, and it actually did. It went back up to new highs of 36.96, but I got impatient. I just got out of it because I felt like it was coming down, and I wanted to take my profits. But in hindsight, it never. On the 10-minute, it looked solid. The 3-minute looks a little choppy, and it got below VWAP, so it kind of scared me a little bit. But in hindsight, I shouldn't have sold the 17. I could have let that run. My other really good trade, my big trade today, was NBEV. I was actually swinging about 25 shares of this at $3.75. So I was up $50 on the open. I took half profits on the open, and then I felt like it was curling over and breaking VWAP, coming down, so I took my remainder here. It ended up reversing and going long. I got a bull flag and then pulled back, and I got into it at 578 for 143 shares. So right about here, and then I took half profits at 611. So that was a 30-cent trade right there, and then I took the remainder at 573 at a break even because I didn't want to lose money on the trade. In hindsight, I could have held those 100. It never really broke down below my 10-minute EMAs. It held trend the entire time. I used the 3-minute to enter and see smaller flags, but I try to trade on the 10-minute as far as trends go. But I got out and then I re-entered at 598 once we had another pop here, this bullish engulfing. It broke trend. I jumped into it at 598 right about here, and it curled back up. I took 25 and then 75 profits. I took 25 at the 73-quarter mark, and then in the 90s I took 50 shares, and then I held another 25, anticipating it going even longer. It didn't. It failed and just kind of triple bounced. Once it broke this trend, I got out half at $7, and it broke down below 7, and I figured it was coming back down to VWAP. So I just took my profits, and I figured I'd re-enter it. I'd let the trend come down, and then I'd re-enter it if I wanted to, and I didn't take it, but I could have probably re-entered at 681 or something, so about the same as what I exited. But it did actually end up collapsing and coming down to VWAP, but then going long. So the other entry on this would have been this trend break. You got a big bullish engulfing here, real big bullish engulfing, reclaiming the VWAP, held above VWAP. Probably would have re-entered somewhere around here, but I just didn't get into it. And now it's actually going long. And in hindsight, I was going to swing 25 shares of this no matter what for the day, as long as it finished strong. I should have held my 25 shares from 375 because I'd be up almost to $10 now. $7 move on 25 shares. Good money, even on the small account. But I made $132 profit on this trade. Really good trade. Don't really know what I could have done better. Maybe taken profits a little bit earlier on this trend breakdown and just re-entered on the EMAs. But yeah, other than that, all my other trades though were red. I traded. We'll just go through these quickly. I won't explain them. I traded alt for a small loss. So we had a flag here, broke flag, got into it 29.73, and it just never really went long. It just held this downtrend. I got out at 29.90 and 29.94 for a break even. The trade was only like minus 30 cents. Don't really know what I could have done better there. I guess the real entry could have been this trend here breaking. I could have got in on VWAP long at 27.84, so could have made 2 points on that pop, but it just, I guess I was late on that one. GTHX was another one. So this is a stock that's failing. It's coming down and it is bearish. I took it at 59.71 yesterday and it swung it, and I took a small profit at 59.60, and then it kind of started to fail, so I just broke out of it and it ended up failing pretty big. $12 loss there. I'm not good at these trades. I believe Spartan called this yesterday. I guess the entry should have been somewhere at 58.90, but yeah, I'm not good at these bear flag reversals and uptrends. And then I also traded Netflix. So Netflix, it's kind of been all over the place. It's been parabolic through this range, weekly range here, and it ran bullish, pulled back, and it's been kind of consolidating. It's got this downtrend going. I got into it on this trend here, this trend break. I got into it at 368.12, so right about here, and I got out of it on the trend break at 368.24. So I took a little bit of profit there, but then I re-entered at 68 for 510 shares, and this was a bad trade. It trend broke and I got stopped out at $37. That was a $8 loss. I think I made a little bit of profit, but just I'm not really too great at the large caps. Then we'll talk about Facebook real quick. I'm kind of upset about this trade. So it wasn't really a revenge trade because I didn't take it yesterday or the day before. But I've been watching this downtrend all week, and I've been anticipating the trend break, and I was going to jump into it. And my actual entry could have been way down here for a swing at like 161 on this flag break right here. So got into it right around this area and swung it long. It would have been a 4-point long. I missed it. I didn't catch the call, and I wanted to get into it for a continuation today. So it started to build this flag on the 10-minute, and I just waited for it to pop. I got into it a little early, unfortunately. I jumped into it because I had 2 bullish engulfing flags, so I figured this was probably the start of the uptrend. Turned out to be wrong. I bought 100 shares at 165, and then I got out half in the 30 cent, and then at 19 cents. So that was a 20 cent loss, and then a 30 cent loss there. Then it confirmed and broke trend, and I got into it 60 shares in the 60s, 165 60s, and it started to go and just failed, and I got stopped out first. This is where I was using 2 stop losses instead of 1, so I was cutting my risk in half as it comes down. I stopped out half for a small profit of like 8 cents, and then it hit my second stop loss in the 46 cents, so that was a 14 cent loss on that one, and I ended it with negative $28 on the trade. So none of these losses except for the TLRY ever exceeded my $40 risk. So I am cutting my trades quickly if they go wrong, and I'm trying to let the winners run. But TLRI was a massive screw up. I definitely messed it up on that one. So Spartan, if you see this, please give me any tips that you have on that. And if you have any questions, send them to my Instagram. It's the social media I'm most active on, or you can join the Discord and communicate that way. And feel free to join the live stream, which I have usually running every morning around 8 to 9 o'clock, about an hour before market opens. And if you didn't catch it today, I was also hosting Spartan Trading voice on my live stream. And I actually went to lunch and just let him talk the entire day on this live stream. So if you want to see what his calls and stuff are like, you can check that out on the live stream, because I'm not sure how many days he's going to want to do that or how it's going to be set up. But it was good to hear him for the first time on the opening bell. It was very, very useful, and I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you for doing that, Spartan. All right, I will see you guys in the next video or in the live stream. See you.